it's no secret to anyone that the Mario series has a bit of a reputation for being the same game just ported to different consoles. And if a person were to play Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy all in a row, they would find a lot of overlapping ideas, but it would be hard to say that those games are carbon copies of each other when you're going from exploring Princess Peach's castle and jumping through paintings to exploring a tropical island full of palm tree headed people that are all accusatory little bitches and force you to clean up shit with a water jetpack to Mario in fucking space. It's hard to go from all of those and say that the Mario series doesn't try to take steps in a different direction every now and again. But nowadays, there's nothing I have to point to deflect the criticism of the Mario games being the same game, just ported to different consoles. What games should I point to? Should I point to New Super Mario Brothers? Should I point to that series? No, I can't because it literally is the same game four times, five times if you count Luigi DLC. Should I point to Super Mario 3D Land? Well, no, I can't because the most interesting idea in that game was a power up from 20 years ago, and it's sad to see the Mario series become so homogenized and so bland. They're still fun in their own way, but they're not fun in their own way, if you know what I mean. There's nothing you can get out of a new Super Mario Brothers game that you couldn't get out of Super Mario Brothers 3. And every single one of those games is just trying to be Super Mario Brothers 3 and failing at it. So you're just going to get a watered down experience. And I really hope and pray as a Mario fan that one day the company will put out a Mario game that shatters all expectations, that makes the fans feel the same way they did when they first played Galaxy, or when they saw Super Mario 64 for the first time, or when they first saw Super Mario Brothers 3, because we haven't felt that way in a while. And seeing the series become so bland and so uninspired really helped me to appreciate a lot of the black sheep of the series that did something different. And no series of spin-offs exemplify creativity, doing something different more than the Mario RPGs. Every one of those games is so charming and so unique and so fun. They fleshed out the Mushroom Kingdom. They let you explore it in ways that the main series just never could. And let me put this into perspective, okay? People who don't like Mario games love some of these RPGs. Some people who don't even like RPGs love the Mario games because they are that unique in concept. They're little gems of storytelling. And let me tell you, the stories in this fucking these games, they're amazing. They're laid back enough to poke fun at themselves too. Do you not like the Mario games? Do you think they're stupid? Well, these games are gonna make fun of the stupid things in those games. They're gonna make fun of how much the princess gets kidnapped. They're gonna make fun of how useless the toads are in kidnapping said princess, in preventing the kidnapping. Bowser has never been a funnier character, and because of these RPGs, because of these spin-off games, he's a better character for it. And the story, which it was allowed to have a fucking story, didn't stop there. It wasn't just a typical Mario plot with all the characters being all ironic and self-aware. No, they took the series in whatever direction they wanted. They made fun of what usually goes on in the Mushroom Kingdom, and then they switched something up. They made it different. Okay, how many Mario games can you say let Bowser team up with Mario? How many Mario games can you say let Luigi be the villain for a period of time? How many Mario games can you say introduced an entire universe, entire other dimensions that are entirely made up of polygonal shapes and fractals, where the villain wasn't just a dick to be a dick. He was a nihilist whose girlfriend got turned into a butterfly. How many Mario games can you say let you play as Mario and baby Mario and Luigi and baby Luigi as they fight aliens that are sucking the life out of toads, and it actually has a depressing, gloomy atmosphere. No other games can say they did that, but the Mario RPGs can say that they did that. So them being as creative as they were, it was only a matter of time before Shiggity Diggity Miyamoto and his goddamn new Super Mario Brothers bullshit came in and ruined the RPGs. Because recently, he changed one of the RPGs. He changed the Paper Mario series. And I'm talking about Sticker Star and the trailers for Color Splash. Now, we don't know all the information about Color Splash yet. It hasn't come out yet, but I think it's safe to say that game is going to be Sticker Star 2, based on the footage we've seen, based on the interviews. And you know what? I said I wanted change. I said that I wanted to shake things up, and the Mario RPGs, I'll wager, didn't need to be shaken up because they always had a niche in the series because they did something that the main series always couldn't do. So you don't need to shake it up that drastically. But all right, I got my wish. What did Miyamoto do to change the Paper Mario series with Sticker Star and Color Splash? What did he do? He took away the interesting story. He got rid of the interesting characters and the interesting world, threw those out the window. For some reason, kept the turn-based battle system, even though there's no RPG elements left in this game. And he thought that a new puzzle system could make up for all this, even though the Mario games have already had puzzle systems, always. You know, cutting my arms and legs off and gluing a puzzle piece to my head, that would count as change. But that's not change for the better. Like, what were you thinking? Oh, I'm not even mad that this game isn't an RPG anymore. I'm not even mad that this game is focused more on exploration and finding the things and puzzle solving. That's fun. That's a cool idea. But to see this game phone in story and characters in a series that is like fucking known for great story, great characters, it's just sad to see. And I know Miyamoto, he doesn't give a shit about story. He doesn't give a shit about characters. But even in terms of fucking main series Mario games, this game is bland as shit. Remember Sunshine that I was talking about earlier? How they gave us, a new species of two new species of characters. They had like the shell people and then they had the palm tree people. Well, there's no new species in this game because why fucking bother? There's a new island in Color Splash, but they're gonna make it as bland as fucking possible and completely not do anything interesting with it. But okay. You want to know why I think this game is now part of the illustrious action adventure genre? Because we all heard about that. We all heard Bill fucking Trinan say, "Oh, it's an action adventure genre." I think that was just a way for Miyamoto to get the fanboys off his back, for him to have an excuse to shirk story, to shirk any type of fucking creative anything. Oh, of course, we were not going to focus in these areas. It's a new game. It's a new series. It's a new genre. Well, you know what this game looks like to me? It looks like a subpar point and click adventure game with a tacked on battle system. That's what it is, really. When you break it down, what do you do in point and click adventure games? You explore the world, you find items, and you use those items in puzzles to progress. What are you doing in this game? You're exploring the world, finding things, putting the things on designated areas in the world to change the world in some way so that you can progress through the game. Well, you know what people like about point and click adventure games? You know how they differentiate bad point and clicks from good point and clicks, like Day of the Tentacle, like, I don't know, Tales of Monkey Island. I never played those games, but I've heard good things about them. And you want to know what good things I've heard about those fucking games? People certainly don't praise the puzzles. They like the story. They like the atmosphere. They like the writing and the funny characters and the interesting world. And you got rid of all that because now it's an action adventure genre. Well, it's still going to be a shitty game. It's still going to be a boring looking phoned in game. And what is the official reason why they said this game is now an action adventure game? What did one of the developers actually tell the public? That well, basically she said the Mario game they have two RPGs. The Mario series, why does it need two RPGs? That's redundant. No, it isn't. What about all the fucking sports games Mario games have? What about all the fucking let's count them. Let's count. Okay, we got Mario Sluggers, we got Mario Strikers, we got Mario Hoops, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf. Does that mean Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games? Does that mean that new series is going to become an RTS? No, because you can just shit one out every time there's an Olympics. That's making it too much money. That fucking game is becoming the Madden and the FIFA of Nintendo. And we already had a Madden and a FIFA. We had Pokemon. But we're not here to talk about that. Let's talk about the second reason why making this game a fucking action adventure game was a stupid idea. Okay, so it's got two RPGs, the Mario series, but they're the same RPG. Really, there's no difference between the two, except yes, there is. There's a huge difference. One is based more on strategy, and the other is based more on reflexes. Okay, they both came from the same animal, Legend of the Seven Stars, but they both evolved into two incredibly different species. And what Nintendo is doing now, what Miyamoto is doing, is taking one of those species, shooting it in the head, gutting it, stuffing it, mounting it, and trying to convince us, oh, hey, it's still got the same life that it used to. It's just different. No, it's dead. It's dead, and you killed it. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on saying why these games are so different and the intricate intricacies of this game because there was a puppet Arlo who already made a video and he went into much more detail than I could in saying why these games are so different. So if you want to learn why these two RPGs are different, go check him out. He also did a rant similar to this one. A lot of people did a rant similar to this one. A lot of people are taking a swing at Color Splash. That's the downside of making this video at the time that I did, as late as I did. I'm pretty sure the game's already going to be out by the time this fucking rant goes up, and I could have just done a review. But hey, the more people that bitch, maybe the more Nintendo will listen. Well, they won't listen. But let's try to be a little bit positive. Let's try to talk about what not Sticker Star. Let's try and talk about what Color Splash, it seems, is going to do better than Sticker Star, is going to do right. Well, I like the art style. I love the fact that everything looks like a diorama now. They really went into that. They really did not compromise in making everything look like it was cut out of craft paper. They made harder surfaces look like cardboard. They made some of the clouds are being, hung up by string. And there was a lot of creativity and I think a lot of problem solving that went into the style of this world because other Paper Mario games they would compromise on certain things. Some things would just look flat, but then if they wanted to make a water, they just make it look like cartoony water. In this game, they said, no, we're going to figure out a way to make water look papery. We're going to make paper that looks like water. And so they layered the paper to look like waves. And whenever there's a boat sailing along the water, the little splashes coming off of it are little bits of confetti. And like a tidal wave is just curled up bits of paper. I love that. I love that. I think that's where all the creativity went into this game. But a bland world and a bland setting isn't going to be helped. It's simultaneously the best looking Paper Mario game and the worst looking Paper Mario game. But okay, in terms of story, I think this game has potential. I think the idea of an island made of color, based off color, toads getting sucked of their color, that's interesting. That's a really cool premise, and they added a new island, they made a new area, which usually gives all sorts of license to make new species, to make new enemies. They're not doing that. They're not fucking doing that. But at least we have a new island. So and we also have a lot more writing. Sticker Star, the writing was non-existent. It barely happened, and when it did happen, when there were little fun sequences, uh, it was sharp and it was witty and it was funny, but there wasn't a lot of it. This game, at the very least, I think is going to be a little bit more story driven, and the worlds are going to be more filled with characters, generic characters, but characters, and they're probably going to say something funny. That was the problem Sticker Star had, is that the world, it let you explore it, without holding your hand, but there wasn't a lot to do in the world because there weren't any people in the world. It wasn't a very populated world. So this game is at least trying to flesh out the world a little bit more. What else? What else? The Okay, the world itself. I know I said, yeah, the world looks kind of generic. Really, Sticker Star looked more generic. In terms of world settings in that game, it pretty much ripped off Super Mario Bros. 3 and all the worlds in those games. Which, even in Super Mario Bros. 3, those worlds weren't that interesting. They're like platformer trope 101. Oh, the ice level, the desert level, the the fucking grass level. And just because those worlds look like paper and cardboard doesn't mean they're any less generic and that there isn't anything less going on. In this game, they're not just ripping off the worlds from Super Mario Brothers 3. They're trying, I think, to make the worlds look a little bit more distinct. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a shitty desert level that did nothing interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a shitty ice level that did nothing interesting. But from what I can see, there's a new island at least. They're trying to make some of the areas a little different. There's a Captain Toad treasure tracker ripoff world. Instead of just another haunted mansion, they're doing a haunted hotel level, and that level makes me feel a little bit better about the series. But like I said, a little bit more personality, and the more personality this game has, the more it should be praised. All right, the new battle system. I can't say that's a positive. I personally don't like the fact that in Color Splash, all of the stickers are just being replaced with paint and cards. And it looks like the paint is actually going to be more tedious because with Sticker Star, you could just peel a sticker off of a wall. Now with Color Splash, you have limited paint, and it looks like there are some areas where you have to you have to bang color back into them. But some of the little colorless spots look like you have to hit them like 3 or 4 fucking times. That's going to be tedious. And then coins and cards come, spurting out. All right, I'm pretty much done with the positives of this game. Let's get to the negatives. Let's get to the fact that there are no new NPC characters in this game. They're all just generic fucking paper toads. I don't hate toads, believe it or not. I actually kind of like the toads. Sure, their voices are shrill, they're kind of annoying, they don't do anything, they're terrible security guards, but they're cute and their design is fun and interesting. And that's really all you need if you're a Mario species. But all these toads, I'm fucking sick of them because they all look the same. They look the exact same, and there's nothing but them. It's just infuriating to see. That part in the trailer where Mario hit the hammer on the house and all the toads came flying out of the house, and it was supposed to be charming because, oh, look, they were all stacked up like paper. I don't care because now the entire population of this new fucking island is just the same, red capped toads. Seeing a toad in a Mario trailer nowadays is like finding a rat in the basement because for every one you see, there's a million others that you're going to have to deal with. What happened to the toads from the Thousand Year Door or Paper Mario, the original? They had little outfits, and outfits can do a lot for character design. Let's take an example of a character from the original Paper Mario, Taste T, the toad that cooked you things. You can tell right off the bat what her character is just by looking at her design. She has gray hair. She's an old woman. She's got an apron on. So already you know she's an old woman who likes to cook. She's a kindly old woman. And now your brain can register her as a different character. You already know what she's about. All of these new toads, they don't have anything to differentiate themselves. So I don't care if they're spouting off Shakespearean dialogue. I'm not going to remember any of them because they all look the fucking same. Nintendo thinks that they can just have a toad spouting a funny one-liner and that'll make them memorable. No, you know what would make them more memorable is if they looked fucking different from each other, as if I could tell them apart. Now, like I said, it's just toads. No other new Mario species exists in the world of Shigeru Miyamoto. In Shigeru Miyamoto's eyes, the Piantas, the Lumas, the fucking anything, they don't exist. Why use them when you could use a toad? What about all the characters based on enemies that are now, new interesting characters? What about Goombario and Goombella? Or any of the townspeople from Goomba Village. Nope, they don't exist. That would be too hard. You'd have to model all these different Goombas. Besides, Goombas and Koopas, they're always the enemies in this new rigid version of Mario. They can never be good characters because that would somehow take away from the Mario canon. Fuck that. What about all the new interesting species that Mario, the Paper Mario series, made up to differentiate itself from all the other series? Nope, they don't exist. The bulb people, they're not in this game. Rolf, whatever his species was, they're not in this game. Flurry, the Punjabis, nope, just toads, just fucking. To- Here's the variety in this game. Sometimes the toads have red caps. Sometimes the toads have green caps. And on a blue moon, you'll see a toad with a blue cap. If you're lucky, and you look at that and you go, wow, the diversity in this game. It's why are they doing this? Why are they doing? And the same thing. Anything I can say about the toads, I can say for the enemies. What's the newest enemy character you saw in that trailer? Well, that's a trick question because there are no new enemies. But what's the newest fucking variation of an enemy? The Shy Guys, they have straws now. Oh boy, what creativity! What? How long did it take you to come up with that? Even in the other previous Paper Mario games, yeah, they used a lot of the same staple enemies. They used a lot of the same old standbys, and even the really unique enemies for those games. They were just Yoshi's Island enemies getting a little more work. Oh, we haven't used the bandit guys. We'll put them in the desert. But they still had the balls to make clefs, to put spiked helmets on Goombas. They were the first people to do that. There was an entire level based on new cloud enemies, and they had Lakitus in those worlds too. But they didn't just stop at Lakitus because everybody already knows a Lakitus deal. So not only let's give a Lakitu more character, let's make a new character out of it, but let's add other new characters to fucking go along with it. But no, we're not going to see any other new fucking characters. And we certainly aren't going to see any new bosses because we saw Roy with his fucking fire hammer, and I don't hate the Koopalings either. I'm just sick and tired of seeing them because when they brought the Koopalings back in New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii, I think everybody was excited. Everyone was excited to see these characters again. They updated their design. Iggy had a new look. He didn't look like the one with the ball. He looked like a mentally deranged palm tree, and that was new. That was interesting. Suddenly, we saw these characters in places that we haven't seen them before. They were go-karting in Mario Kart. They were fighters in Smash Brothers. They were Bowser Jr.'s alternate skins. That was fun. That was interesting. But now they're just another excuse for Nintendo to be lazy, like the Toads. You don't need to design new boss characters when you've just got 7 fucking Koopalings to rehash. Let's think about this. How many worlds are there usually in a Mario game? 8, 9 if you're lucky. Sometimes even less. Sticker Star, I think, had less worlds. It had less MacGuffins. So you've got 7 Koopalings, and you've also got Bowser Jr., who's always got to be with the Koopalings now for some reason. And Bowser, well, he's going to be the end boss because he's always the fucking end boss. So, like I said before, no new boss characters. That's not creative. That's not. Why does Bowser have all these fucking children in his army, by the way? Apparently they're not even his kids. So why the fuck does he have an army of children? Does he pay them all off to be Bowser Jr.'s friends? Does Bowser Jr. need these fucking 7 kids to boss around to feel big? I don't know why he does it. All I know is that if other Mario games were as lazy as this one, then we wouldn't have iconic boss characters that could be reused for other games. Imagine if they just put the Koopalings in Super Mario 64. They didn't make King Bomb up on the hill. It was just Iggy on the hill, and you had to throw him off. Imagine if Super Mario Sunshine just used the Koopalings. We wouldn't have Petey Piranha. We wouldn't have this new, barfing flower character. We just have probably the girl one throwing paint at you. Oh, that's fun. No, what I want in my tropical fucking vacation is a big flower that barfs on you. But I can't have that with this game because the fucking Koopalings are going to be there. They made boss characters worse than even Sticker Star in this game because in Sticker Star, all the boss characters, they were just big shiny versions of existing enemies. But at least you could wonder which big shiny versions of existing enemies you were going to fight in this level. Oh, maybe I'm going to fight a big Boo. Maybe I'm going to fight a big Koopa Troopa. But you're not going to be able to guess or wonder in this game. You're not even going to be able to probably wonder about what sequence you're going to fight these characters in because it's always the same sequence. You always first you fight Lemmy, then you fight Iggy, then you fight Diggy and Dopey and Sneezy and Connor and Blitzen and the Ludwig von Beethoven one. He's usually at the end. The Mario games, the Paper Mario games, they never had this problem. You can do a lot, like I said, with character design, with outfits, because a lot of the bosses, they were just existing enemies, but with a different outfit. But if you put like a little general hat on a Shy Guy, he's no longer just a Shy Guy. He's General Shy Guy, and he's you can already tell that he's tough and that he's a no nonsense general, and he's gonna throw his battalion at you, and he's got a cool little tank. The Koopa Bros, they're just 4 Koopas, but now they have little colored masks on them, and suddenly, oh, they're this like parody of the Power Rangers or the Ninja Turtles. Not in this game. No, not in this game. Miyamoto would have a heart attack if you characterized one of his species and made it a new character. I mean, fuck. What is the only new character in this game? It's a paint bucket. And you know what? I can say one more positive thing about this game. The paint bucket seems like it's going to be a better character than Kirsty because the paint bucket seems a little more laid back. He looks like he's not going to be a fucking bitch like Kirsty was. Kirsty, you were working for her. She wasn't working for you. She was an asshole. This paint bucket looks like it's a lot more fun loving. Can you believe I'm talking about a fucking paint bucket? What kind of a hell would it be to be a character designer for this game? I can just imagine like some poor sod being chained to a desk as Miyamoto breathes over him and he's forced to draw the same Toad over and over again. And the moment he tries to draw a different character, Miyamoto's just like, hey, you stop drawing that character. You stop drawing new things. There's no new things in these games. I let you draw the paint bucket character because we need a Navi. We need another Kirsty. But if you so much as put one more straw on those Shy Guys, I'm going to have your head. I don't think he's that intimidating a man to work with, but nobody's going to argue with Miyamoto anymore because he's Miyamoto. And I have respect for the guy. I have a lot of respect for him, but I think people should argue with him when he guts an RPG, when he takes a series so full of life and so full of color and he turns it into a shambling husk of what it once was. People should tell him, hey, I know you want to innovate gameplay wise, but you seem to be okay with making the new Super Mario series the same game 4 times in a row. Not only that, but as much as you're innovating in terms of gameplay, you're using the same cookie cutter characters, and people are tired of Toads. People are tired of Koopa Troopas and Goombas. And I know you think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it ain't broke, why make another game? I could just go play Mario Brothers 3. I could just go play 64. I could play the original Paper Mario. I could play Thousand Year Door. And those games are way more distinct from this fucking title. It's bullshit. And, I don't think he's the George Lucas of games necessarily. He's the Walt Disney of games. George Lucas, if we're going by Star Wars, he made three great movies, and then he made three terrible movies. Miyamoto, he's just held to a higher standard, and it feels like nowadays he's being a little lazy. It looks like he's making Mario games with a checklist. He's got this rigid idea of what a Mario game is. That's not helping the series grow. You can't just go, oh, we gotta have Goombas. Oh, we gotta have Toads. Oh, we gotta have Koopas. Oh, we gotta have new Super Mario Brothers the entire game. Shove that game up this game's ass. Make it your bitch. It's not a bitch, Nintendo. It's a lady. You have to treat it with respect. I don't like the way the series is going. I don't want this kind of shit to continue. I want these games to have personality. I want change, but I want change for the better. I don't just want the Thousand Year Door again. A lot of people they seem to be saying just make the Thousand Year Door again. I don't want that. If you want to keep the changes that you've made to this game, fine. But the game feels half done. You need to go in and you need to add a story. You need to add characters. You at least need to make things visually interesting, other than making everything look like paper. Paper Mario was never about Mario being made of paper. I it saddens me to see. But there's still hope that maybe Miyamoto will loosen his sphincter one day, will loosen the reins on the series and let it thrive and let it grow and let it be creative again. I'm waiting for that day, but until then, well, fuck. I guess we're just gonna have to deal with Sticker Star. I guess we're just gonna have to deal with Color Splash. And hopefully Color Splash isn't as bland as everybody thinks it's gonna be.